Heading there. Dude, listen, if Shadowkeep is, holy shit, what if it's Kevin's idea, chat? Once a week, you go back into a time-walking version of the old Destiny 1 raids. What if it's his idea? What if it's one, like you can go back and do VOG, but only for 1 week, and then and then another, and then next week it's Crota, and then the next week it's Taken King, and the next week it's Axis. That's 4. What if it's Kevin's idea, chat? And then you get the full collection of everything that's ever come out in Destiny recontextualized into Destiny 2. We're about to find the fuck out. Tell us, make sure you're ready for the video at the end of this, okay? I'm just saying, chat, it would work. Oh my fucking God! No! Chat! Oh, I'm dying. It's Luke! It's Luke! Hi, Luke!
Hi, everyone. I'm Luke.
And I'm Mark, and we're coming here live from the Bungie studios.
Hi, Luke!
Yeah.
It is, if you've been on the internet the last few days, it is the leakiest ship on the internet.
It's true.
So what we've got today, we've got a cool show lined up for you. Behind us, you can see Dado getting ready, Dado, Ben, and Catherine. We're going to talk about Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, which is the next chapter coming out this fall. But first, let's take a look at it.
Dado's there!
Looking to the future always brings us back to the past. Can you feel them? I can still hear their voices. Their endless torment reshapes our moon. Nightmares now stalk the surface. Walking shadows, seeking vengeance. Our old fears, they rise again. And in the dark below, something wicked has awakened. We must bring an end to this suffering. One way or another.
So the question on everyone's mind, since Bungie's gone truly independent and is in complete control of Destiny's future, we're publishing the game now, we're an independent company, is now what? What's the plan? Where are we headed?
So the way that we talk about where we're headed is like the way we've talked about over the years is what's the vision for what we're trying to do. And so the vision for Destiny going forward, the Destiny franchise, is contained in like 3 parts. The first part is being an awesome action MMO. And
Yeah, we've been worried about that term for a long time. We've shied away from using
MMO.
that. Yeah, because it comes with a lot of baggage. It's like, does that mean it's a subscription game, or you got to play with a mouse and keyboard, or whatever? But like, man, this is one of those things. We're on our own now, and it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's a duck. Like we can accept the fact that this is what the game is.
There's like duck emojis out in the chat right now. But like when we say MMO, we don't mean like subscriptions. We don't mean subscriptions. We do mean 2 things. The first part where we're lacking right now, and we've been getting better, Forsaken certainly adds to it, is improving the RPG.
Yeah, we really want deeper build customization for our players and for your characters. You're creating these monster killing machines and you want to make them your own, and we can do a lot more there.
And so a bunch of what we're doing this fall is going to be about adding the stats back into the game, RPGing the game more than it was. And D2 launched away, Forsaken improved it, and we think Shadowkeep's going to take that kind of to the next level. The second part about what we mean when we say RPG is really important to us. It's about improving social. Like, this is a place where it can be hard to find grouping. It can be hard to make friends in Destiny. And what we've been saying for years, as we've been like dodging the MMO term, is like it's a game best played with your friends. And so this is one of the things that on the long horizon of the Destiny franchise, like we have to improve the social game.
Yeah, like, and I just want to take a moment to say, this isn't changing anything about the core action game of Destiny. Like, it is so fun and amazing to shoot monsters in their heads, get headshots, and see their souls escaping their body, and you slip behind cover. Like, at its core, Destiny is an action game. But we're also not afraid to say it's an action MMO, and that's where we're headed. We're taking steps there this year.
And so part one of the vision, awesome action MMO. Part two of the vision for Destiny going forward is a single evolving world. And we have been close to the mark in some ways and far off in others. The way we've been close is stuff like what happened in Forsaken, when Raid Team goes into the Dreaming City, they kill Riven, and they launch this Dreaming City cycle that like transforms the world. And we think that's awesome, and we want to do more things like that.
When the community gets to come together and discover secrets and solve problems and push the world forward and push that narrative forward, that's when the game really feels like it's not a game, but a real world.
Yeah, for people who don't know some of where I came from, in my time in WoW, the Scarab Lord Gates opening event was this moment that brought these huge communities together.
I've never heard of that.
It became this awesome event. And I think the potential of what we're trying to do with Destiny is create moments like that create bonds between players and let players work together to change the world.
Yes.
The third part of the vision here is play it anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, we want you to be able to play Destiny anytime, anywhere with your friends. And we're definitely going to take steps here this year. And the first one.
Well, I don't know which first you want to do. Like, we're just coming off of the Stadia.
You said play it anywhere,
Stadia
chat.
announcement,
Stadia
which is
anywhere.
Our partnership with Google.
Yeah. So with Stadia, Destiny 2 is coming to Stadia this year, which is going to be awesome because it means you're going to be able to play Destiny anywhere you have a Chrome browser with their controller, and that's going to be just incredible for our community. You're not going to have to lug your PS4 home to your mom's place at Christmas anymore. In case Zura's selling One-Eyed Mask or whatever. That's not a promise.
You know who's been talking about this all the time? It's like Scott Taylor, constantly talking about where he's going to play. Can't wait to play on my. It just lists a litany of devices that he wants to play. He wants to play Destiny on, and
that story's just cracked wide open with Stadia. So we're super excited about that because it lets you literally play anywhere.
So it's a great fit for the vision. And then the next thing, do you want to just jump? We have our set list that we're moving through. And so the next thing on the list, there's been a little bit of talk about over the last 24 hours. Maybe you want to talk about cross-save.
So yeah, cross-save is coming to Destiny 2 finally. And we're super excited about that. What cross-save is, it is about taking Guardians that you've created and being able to play them on any platform.
Oh my God.
We are super excited about that, and we know fans have been asking for a long time. And contrary to maybe what you've heard on the internet, because I just want to be super clear about this, cross-save is coming to all platforms. All of them. PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Stadia. And
there's some
people clapping in the studio.
That is, we do not have an applause light. That's just the enthusiasm of the team.
So we're super excited about that. And Bungie and Sony are working together
Thank
to
God.
ensure that cross-save is coming to PS4 when Shadowkeep launches.
For years, we would go to do interviews with companies. We'd dodge this question so many times about which platform do you play on? Which platform should you play on?
Wherever your friends are.
Our answer has always been we're going to
how
message back to
casual this conversation
the best place
is,
to play
chat.
Destiny is
I'm
where your
loving
friends
it.
are. But cross-save makes that statement actually true because you can go from PC to PS4 and wherever you want to play the game. Wherever your group's rating is where you can play.
So you've probably seen reports on the internet and that may be different to this. There's a reason we do these shows live. So.
It's for the really awkward.
Yeah.
It's for us stammering back and forth. So the next thing on our list here, do you want to talk? Let's talk about a new entry point.
When we think of anytime, anywhere, that third part of the vision, cross-save, Stadia, those are parts of it. But we have some real barriers to making that totally true and really making that a reality. When Forsaken came out last year, for instance, look in the first-party stores. There's 9 different versions of the game. You need some kind of decoder ring to figure out what you're supposed to purchase. It's just way too confusing to figure out what you're supposed to buy.
So the reason, our answer to this like big problem is, what if we just create a free entry point for the game and create a brand new way for players to, well, a brand new-ish way for players to enter the universe. But there's still this problem of, oh gosh, I've got like 40 hours of game to play. I've got to like get through these campaigns, which, you know, are cool, but that's not really the part of the game that matters if you're playing for hardcore reasons.
In the Season of Opulence, Menagerie just came out. It's a 6-player match-made activity. It's awesome. I love playing it. But if I'm going to recommend it to a friend who's not playing Destiny, it's like, well, you got to buy this version of the game, then you buy this other version of the game, then you got to play all that. And I'm not going to play with you because you're doing old stuff. And so it's going to take, it becomes hard to recommend.
Fucking
So
gem,
you need to
chat.
fix that.
So the answer to this problem is New Light, where once you enter New Light, in 10, 15, 20 minutes, you now arrive at the part of the game that matters to you and your friends, where you're like jumping into Gambit, Crucible, etc. This is about crushing the barriers between friends and making it a game where you're like, there's something awesome happening in Destiny. I'm going to go check it out. And New Light's totally free.
It's free. You download New Light, create this character. Within 15 minutes, you're playing Gambit with your bros or running around the EDZ and discovering
What
lost
the
sectors. Like, you're having
fuck?
a really fun time.
So the other part of this handshake is the way we're thinking about selling the game differently now. We have, for years, had this like compounding purchase model, even something like the annual pass, which I think we've learned a bunch from, and you know, we have plans for how we're going to iterate on it over time.
Oh my
it meant
God.
That up front, you had to spend $35 rather than maybe purchasing things a la carte. And that strategy is a strategy that we're changing now that we're in control.
Yeah, if you think of New Light like a baseline, we're thinking of our content kind of like, you know, atomic packages that go on top of that. So Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is completely standalone. It's an expansion pack and it's standalone. It's an expand-alone, I guess is what you would call it.
You don't need to play Forsaken. You don't need to play Curse of Osiris, Warmind. You don't have to play Drifter, none of it.
You buy it and you jump right in. But,
Awesome.
You know, we want to do that with Seasons too. And so going forward, our Seasons, you're going to be able to jump in and have a great free experience, and that's awesome. But if you want that, you know, access to some of the premium content, you can jump in and buy that season, you know, Season 8 separately from Season 9.
Yep. So
Oh my
another part
God!
that we have had trouble with over the years is answering questions around things like exclusive content. We have had exclusive activities,
buy what you want,
exclusive
chat!
weapons, things like this,
You
and those
buy
things
what you
violate kind of
fucking
that second
want!
part of the
You
vision, which
buy
is that
what
single
you
evolving world.
want!
So going forward and beginning this fall,
Single community of players where everyone can be together, but you're like, well, let's play this strike. Oh, sorry, I don't have that strike on my box.
so we want to remove those barriers. And now going forward, there's going to be no more exclusive activity content.
What?
No exclusive gameplay things like exotic weapons. We're not doing any of that stuff going forward.
Yeah. So there's one more thing that I'm going to share before we're done is that this year, you know, Destiny 2 on PC needs to find a new home. You know,
Some would say we need to find an epic partner.
Oh
yeah,
no!
and so we need to find a new home, and because we're self-publishing Destiny now, and we're truly on our own. And so Destiny 2 is going to be coming to Steam. And this means that you know, anyone currently playing Destiny 2, they're going to be able to come over to Steam, you know, free of charge. They're going to continue their accounts. They're going to continue all their possessions. Going to move over. Any licenses they had, any DLC, like whatever, it all comes over. And Shadowkeep, you know, the D2 expansion that's coming out this fall, is going to be shipping exclusively on Steam this year.
It's kind of like when you relocate for a job,
Steam
and they relocate you, and like a van
chat!
shows up at your house and loads all your stuff, and then takes it. And you show up at your new house, and it's all there. But this time we're gonna like unpack it and move you over to Steam.
How exactly this is all going to happen, there's going to be a website on BungieNet somewhere that describes it in more detail. But we want the transition to be really seamless for players and a really good experience.
Oh, I'm
So the thing that we want to try to do to
excited,
wrap
chat.
all of this up is like do the like Instagram cut down version of everything we just talked about in like 20 seconds. So the vision for Destiny going forward is pretty simple. It's an awesome action MMO in a single evolving world that you can play anywhere. By playing anywhere, that means cross-save across all of our platforms. We have a new platform that we're adding this year, Stadia. We have a new entry point for the game called Destiny 2 New Light,
Fuck,
which is
I
free.
love loot.
And
I wanna
everything we
just
add to the
buy
game
that
is gonna
man
be
a
purchased a la
Maserati.
carte going forward. So Shadowkeep, Season 8. Let's say in Season 8 we start to lay the foundation for some changes we want to make to PvP, but it doesn't tempt you to come back yet. Well, maybe in Season 9 we'll have something that's going to make you want to come back for sure. No more exclusives going forward for us in terms of gameplay and armor and weapons. And if you're playing the game on PC, we're moving you to Steam. That's kind of like that's the end of the set list. The encore, if we're carrying the music thing forward, is this awesome?
I think it's more than an encore.
Yeah, actually, we are like we're the opening act.
Yeah, they've been watching two dudes talk to you for 12 minutes or whatever.
So the main event is coming up. Dado's behind us getting ready. But first, let's take a look at a new Vidoc called Out of the Shadows.
This really is the beginning of a new era, and I think beginning is an important part of that sentence.
This is the first time I think that, in a long time that Bungie has stood kind of on its own.
And we're self-publishing. It's a really big deal. There's a huge opportunity here for us to really make our own decisions.
It's a turning point for us.
We are in charge of our own destiny.
It's empowering and terrifying at the same time.
There are only two groups who are going to decide what happens to Destiny next: Bungie and the players who play Destiny.
Oh my God. What's that?
So at its core, Shadowkeep is about returning to the moon.
We haven't been to the moon in a while, since Destiny 1, and a lot's changed.
Was that Wrath armor?
When you go back, it isn't exactly what you thought it was.
There's like huge cracks ripped into it. There's a weird scarlet fortress. And so the context of the moon has been updated entirely.
This isn't just about the hive anymore. It's about something else, something terrifying.
Oh my God!
The moon this time around is something really scary that is playing on your fear in a way that hasn't happened before. Before it was, oh, it's a big giant thing and it's scary, but now there's actual, like, some psychological elements to that.
How long has it sat in silence, watching us? Much too long.
Having Eris Morn come back instantly signals to players the tone shift and change.
There's an undertone of threatening and psychological horror.
You're all insufferable!
We want to tap into what makes Guardians afraid. What are their worst fears?
Shadowkeep refers to the things that Eris unleashed on the solar system. Nightmares are manifestations of the Guardian's past.
What if the villains that you thought were well into the ground actually weren't, and they were being resurrected by the darkness?
Eris is trying to figure out how she unleashed this kind of madness, and so she needs
up!
your help. You can't just kill them and make them go away.
What if you can't do all of the things that you've grown accustomed to doing?
Being unable to achieve what you're trying to achieve, no matter how hard you try.
Players, they think we can deal with this. We killed Crota, like we killed Oryx. Like, no big deal, right? Well, you're gonna get there and you discover it's a bigger deal than you even thought it could be.
The darkness is actually a lot closer than you realized.
Now you know my suffering.
It's been a year, basically, of just a constant two-way dialogue with all of our passionate players.
Under it or on the sides of it more?
The number of green...
That's really informed what it is that players want out of the Destiny game and how we're evolving, not just the story of the world, but what happens to you as a Guardian.
Like the thing that's supposed to blow you back or whatever, it's related to acceleration.
A bunch of the work that we're doing is about adding depth to the character sheet. The teams are thinking about how do we want to evolve armor, get more stats into the game, get more player customization. How can we get the depth of pursuit for how you want to play with this awesome character you've been building now for, some of us 5 years.
And like completely new ways of deepening the like character RPG that we all know and love and want to be better.
In Shadowkeep, we are fundamentally evolving the systems and moving the world forward.
You want to bring some of that sci-fi element back to it, where it's like
some like panels or something.
We've been dancing this line between, like, are we RPG enough? Are we not RPG enough? And now we're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just go all in and just say, like, hey, let's give players what they want. Allow them to kind of like customize the players and their habits and their game modes and all that stuff as much as they want to.
So in Shadowkeep, what we're doing is changing the way that armor, perks, and mods work pretty significantly.
Right now in the game, if you have an armor set that you like the look of, but you have another armor set that you like the way it plays, you're probably going to pick the one that you like the way it plays.
Armor 2.0 is focused on allowing you to take the mods that you've unlocked and apply them to any given piece of armor.
When I move my cursor over one of these mod sockets, it immediately shows me all of the mods that are available to me.
Personally, I'm excited about the artifact. Players just get to kind of like fidget with these knobs and switches and do all the things that they want to do.
When you get to this last tier, each of these perks gets relatively close to what an exotic might feel like. That's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun.
Oh my God.
Finishing moves are a new thing for Shadowkeep. What's your favorite?
I mean, there's some crazy ones.
For the hunter, this awesome flourish where he actually does like spin in front of him, has two knives,
What's up,
and then
Dave?
just hits.
I was like, what the heck? Like, what game is this?
Yeah, Titan finisher. He jumps in the air, pulls back, looks at his fist, and
It's kind of like the dunk. There's so many different ways to dunk. You can behind the back, 360, cartwheel, whatever.
We're in the playtest lab every day, trying to figure out what's good for the game, what do people want, what have they been asking for, trying new ideas.
So I want to try. I added radar hiding.
Let me know how it feels to get shot by the heavy bow. I am working
Heavy bow?
on
She said
an
heavy
exotic
bow!
heavy bow. And I'm just working on figuring out some knockback, trying to see how big this. Okay, that's probably too much, but you get the idea. This is an exotic trace rifle. Fire it on an enemy and it creates a big old crit spot. Here's a hand cannon that Victor's working on. It fires special ammo, and it's a little bit like a one-handed sniper.
Like, it's actually our only hand cannon with a scope on it. Right now, it kind of lights you on fire if you keep firing it too much. We'll see. Some people like it, some people are kind of but we'll hammer it all out.
All right, it's time. It's about to get loud in here. 1v1. 1v1 on the board.
One of the things we really want to focus on, especially with Season 8 and the start of Shadowkeep, is a renewed focus on PvP.
You're all on the other team.
That was elimination.
We're updating labs to include some much-loved game types from the past. We're also redoing a bunch of the playlists and how they work. But the really important thing for players to know is this is just the beginning. This is us building the foundation of what we're doing with the Crucible going forward.
Previously, you would have a 20, 40, 60-hour climb before you could do what's considered in-game content. And now you can pretty much do that immediately.
We want you to feel like you are in the end game from the moment you step on the planet.
Leveling up your Guardian and becoming more powerful, overcoming dungeons, overcoming raids.
For the raid, we had multiple destinations that we were considering, and Black Garden was like immediately top of the list.
And everyone was like, yes, and I was like, yes, that's the one I wanted.
With Forsaken, we started finding more ways for players to customize and personalize their character and differentiate themselves. Shadowkeep's going to push even further in that direction.
The word, which is really guiding us in a bunch of ways, is depth. It's about experiential depth. When we look at how we're thinking about the next 3-5 years, it's really important to us.
It's cool to have a game that you can invest in with your friends, tweak your monster killing machine and make it 2% better every weekend, doing different things and figuring out how to craft this perfect build that you feel like is your own. Like, that is cool. There's nothing nerdy about it. We're like happy to own that. We're gonna stand on that corner.
Oh my God!
As things change, if the game doesn't feel like it's changing to meet the new landscape, it just all fall down. You know, part of our DNA is finding different ways to bring people together. We needed a way to crush the barriers between friends.
We all have friends who could play Destiny, who are interested in it, but then we think about recommending it, like, oh man, you're gonna have to play about 40 hours by yourself, and then you gotta pay all this money, and maybe you should just play something else. And that can't be the story. We need an entry point for your friends to be able to get into Destiny.
This is just simply about bringing people together to make it easy for players to enter this universe.
There's a new entry point coming out in September called New Light, and New Light is a free-to-download experience.
We're going to start off in the same place where Guardians first came into the world.
Guardian. Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian. It worked. You're alive.
You started in the Cosmodrome.
You're going back.
Going back. Yeah, blast from the past.
Okay, it's not going to break orbit, but it just might get us to the city.
It's as easy as come in, make a character, play the amazing introduction to the game, and then land in the tower.
And then we'll set them loose to open up the world as they see fit.
And have sort of an array of potential in front of you.
You can just start playing the game and get into some of the same activities that your friends might be playing. The campaigns from D to Year One, the Red War, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind.
Every world we have will be available for them to explore and to free roam and to do bounties
Just right
on.
away?
Every cooperative strike, whether they're playing with friends or matchmaking, every competitive multiplayer map.
The D2 Year One raids like Leviathan.
Just
Full
right away.
access to Gambit, the hybrid mode that we have. All these things are available to them for nothing.
For nothing!
We've always said that Destiny is best when you play it with your friends, and we're trying to make it easier. So if your friends who are playing Destiny are on different platforms, we're adding cross-save so that you can move between the different platforms and play wherever your friends are.
Like if I'm playing and I want to move over to my PC, I should have my character go with me. We want Destiny to meet you wherever you want to play, so that's incredibly important for us.
We wanted cross-save before we shipped Destiny 2, right? Like a bunch of it was built. We just couldn't get there for capital R reasons. Many of those reasons have disappeared. So we are headed full steam ahead on that. And we got to figure out how we're going to get there and how we're going to give the players what they want.
As culture as we can get. Thanks, buddy.
Our original vision for Destiny was a world that would evolve and change.
We're leaning really hard into that because we believe that's where the future of Destiny is.
The long horizon for Destiny is to become an evolving world. You know, you're going to tune in to see what's going to happen next.
We can completely build Destiny in the vision that we want it to be in. A vision that isn't dictated by a commercial model or a business plan, but our creative vision and what we want to do for our players and what they want us to do with Destiny.
I feel like our work isn't done. We have a series of missions that we need to finish before I think we have Destiny in the place that it needs to be, and we're back to, I guess, finish the fight, so to speak.
Welcome,
I physically
gamers,
can't
to
handle
the
this anymore.
Q&A portion of the stream. Someone's very enthusiastic back there. There we go. There's a bunch more enthusiasm. Welcome to the Q&A portion of the stream. If you know who I am, you're probably pretty familiar with me doing Q&A stuff. If you don't know who I am, I'm here to embarrass myself in front of thousands of people for the second time in a week. And I'm also your personal Destiny search engine. Most people just call me Dado. I have a lot of these, by the way. I don't think I have time to read all of them. I'm here. That was really, really loud. I'm here with Ben and Catherine.
Hi.
And we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk a little story action for Shadowkeep.
Great.
And the first thing I'm gonna start with is Eris evil? Because she kind of seemed evil, but at the same time, like not evil, like sort of in a driftery way.
So
Talk to me.
Eris is definitely not your sterling like character like Zavala or
right.
Cora. She's more complicated. She's been through a lot. She's this enigmatic, like mysterious character with tons of power. It's always on the edge of every new threat that's coming. And so she's decidedly not evil. I can say that pretty firmly. And what she is the one who's going to take us into a new threat and a new place that we have to actually investigate. Because she's come back. She's been gone for a long time. And there's been a lot of parts of the Eris story that we've gotten hints at. You know, we've seen lore books. We've gotten, like, seen what she did after the tower blew up. We knew that she went off. We know that she's worked with Marisov for a long time. And well, all those journeys that she's done have brought her back to the moon. A moon that we thought we had like left behind, that we had killed the threats there. Well, she's discovered something even darker in the dark below.
The dark below. I see what you did there.
Trying.
Dark below.
Wow, wink.
Didn't drop my pen. Speaking of Marisov and
nice
all
raid
that,
jacket,
I'll pose this
Dado.
question to you. Is this connected to any of the events of Forsaken? Is this connected to Mara? Are we going to see any sort of link between the two?
We aren't talking about Mara specifically in Shadowkeep.
Okay.
This is an Eris story, but like what we're doing here is we the Dreaming City was a really fun like way of exploring like the deep lore of Destiny, right? Like we had Truth to Power, and we had all the curse weeks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I was
the
definitely
Marisov vignettes.
Marisov vignette. So this is like we want to do that, but like for Eris, right?
Right.
Like we want to just go in there and be like, there's so much stuff. Like you said, she's a super enigmatic character. Like she could totally appear to be evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like she uses the powers of darkness and sources all her magic from the hive.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
why? Like what is all that?
Yeah, and she's doing it to protect humanity. That is like her mission that she's had for a long time. And if you think back, Eris's entire journey, what happened to her? Her fire team was like slaughtered by Crota, and she barely survived and to transform herself. And she crawled back to like rally people to destroy this threat that would have consumed the last city and all of the rest of humanity. And then she saw Oryx was coming too, and she worked with all these forces that players and everyone else in the city had no idea were even around to try to stop it. You know, she does things that no one else can. And she's doing that one more time.
Well, she's persevering a lot. I feel like eventually just like, get over it. Like, fire team's dead, but you know, we got Crota, right? Like, give it up, lady. But
I think that's like not fair entirely, maybe because
no,
like,
I'm just messing around.
Yeah.
Just to go back to Forsaken real quick, are we getting any hints of like what's going on with Uldren and Marisov? Like Uldren, we kind of got like a cutscene, and then it's like, all right, that's it. And then there's no resolution on that at all.
I would love to sit here and talk about Uldren. That's a conversation for another time.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm going to turn back to Eris on the moon because I'm just super excited by what we're actually going to expose. It's not just what Eris is doing there right now. It's not just about this new threat. It's not just about nightmares, which are now infesting our moon. It's about the history there, and it's about what's changed since you were last there. The moon that we remember from people who played Destiny 1, a lot has happened since they were last there.
Well, that was actually one of my next questions is how is the moon different compared to Destiny 1 now? Because we had the Hellmouth, and that was, pretty intricate design for the hive and everything. How is that changing in Shadowkeep? Because a lot of people are going to say, we've already been to the moon. Like,
well, it's twice as big as the moon you remember.
Yeah.
Twice as big.
Twice as big. And as you might see, there's a giant red citadel now.
Yeah.
Looming threats. And there's mysterious entities, nightmares that are pushing out everywhere. There's also smaller stories that have been uncovered because of all of this this chaos and happening in that place. The Fallen have a new place that they've set up, and they have their own reasons for doing that. The cracks have like divided places you've been before, and they're going to change how you like play and you Sparrow and move through them. And you're going to discover old stories from who knows how long ago with characters that you remember, and they're going to expose more of what actually is coming in the future.
Are we going to see any potential new characters popping in? Maybe?
Well, there's one of my favorite characters. I'm not going to say it though because it's spoilers.
Okay, fine.
I'm not going to tell you that.
That's
but
fine.
There's a ton of what this character does, and I read through all the scripts and I thought it was really awesome.
Okay, then all right. Consider me intrigued. I guess one of the final questions I have is why this storyline as opposed to any other storyline that you guys might have considered?
So we have internally, like Bungie is a lot like the players in that we're always talking about Destiny as fans, because we are fans of our own game. Like we're fans first of Destiny, and Moon is a fan favorite inside the studio. And so it always comes up, okay, well, when are we going back to the moon? What about the moon? Like, we just don't go there anymore. We should go back. What's been happening on the moon? Wait, like, is that on the moon? And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It turns into this fervor and excitement that, okay, we're going back to the moon. How do we make that work?
Right.
And the thing about every Destiny destination is you play through what we can release and what we can show and the stories that we have. But there's always more. There's always like another horizon or another like deep depth or another like entire region that is not yet explored.
Moon, by the way.
I consider every place we go in Destiny to have more stories that were just waiting for us to like find the right time to tell.
Absolutely.
The moon has some great stories.
Yeah, I will have some follow-up questions related to story stuff later in the show. But that is just something I kind of want to know.
How long is the show?
You know, why this one? Were you guys working on maybe other storylines
that
maybe just didn't work out, or you want to, let's save that for later, or like, maybe we scrap that all together, or was it just like, this is happening, like we want to go to the moon next, like let's do it?
It's mostly that.
Yeah,
I think
the passion comes first.
The passion comes first. I think we're constantly thinking, like, as you said, we're all players of this game, and we're all like, oh man, yeah, what is happening on the moon? And what is happening to all these stories that we've been exploring for a while? And like, you know, it's just something. It's whatever is most exciting to us at any given time.
Yeah, and I think it's a relatable feeling that we're going after too. I mean, the moon is a place that was very dear to a lot of players' hearts, but it's also new to a lot of other players. And so, like, I consider it like you take your best friend back to your hometown. You haven't been there in 5 years, and it's changed. Like what has been torn down, what new is there, what still remains. You're going to explore it. And you'll be like, oh, my favorite Chinese place is gone, and now it's an organic grocery store. No, I'm going to go buy all the lettuce. You know, like, you're going to have. There's going to be these moments where you're going to rediscover everything, and it's going to have meaning for you, and then it's going to have meaning for your friend in different ways.
And I think it's also really exciting on top of New Light too, right? Because like the moon was like the big destination in old D1, and you're just like, okay, yes, we're going there, or I'm going to bring all my friends there. Like, I can bring anyone there.
I was even calling New Light First Light for a while, and First Light was the big moon map.
Right, exactly.
Even, so, yeah.
You make a little look at First Light. Just a little bit when you're running around the moon.
Yeah. Oh, look forward to it.
Big nostalgia factor.
All right. Do you guys have anything else to add before we transition here?
One thing, like when you talk about Marasov, the thing that I really loved about Dreaming City as someone who played it at home was going to the vignettes and every few weeks. And we really loved how that was a new piece of Destiny, like this Dreaming City cycle type of thing, and how you play it. And we're trying to instill those lessons into Shadowkeep as well.
Gotcha.
So look for cool lore drops like that over time, similarly to Dreaming City.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys very, very much for joining me.
Thanks.
I'm going to rotate you guys out for some new guys. And don't forget to take your mug.
Yep.
Oh.
Otherwise, I get yelled at.
My mug, you can't have.
All right, fair enough. Next to the stage, we have Justin and Del.
Oh, I gotta go pee, chat.
Welcome. You guys, I have to grill you guys a little bit more than the story guys. Story guys, like, let's have a fun little intro. But now we're getting into systems and the seasons and that kind of stuff, real nitty gritty. So I got to grill you guys a little bit more. So let's start with Sandbox. Sandbox changes have been limited to approximately once per season. To many people, they think these need to happen a little more frequently. Are there any plans to change that? And are there any barriers to more frequent updates?
Well, we made the commitment to do a change every season to really look at the sandbox and how it was playing, and so we're going to keep that. Like we keep that. We think that's a good cadence every season. There's like some big update to the sandbox and how it's playing, make you rethink how you're building your monster killing machine.
Okay.
The real hard part is it takes time to do those balance updates. Like we have to look at data, the team has to get into play tests, we're looking at the community feedback, we're like trying to isolate how we balance it. And it's in a game like Destiny, it's big. So it's not just like balance it for one activity. It's like, how do we balance it in strikes? What's the impact over here? And so it takes time, and whenever we're taking time doing that, we're not building content. And so it's just a hard balance for us to find like, hey, what's the right amount of focusing on balancing and tuning, what's the right amount about making new rewards and pursuits, and adding the depth that we talked about earlier. Like, we want to update some of the systems, and we want to like make the game more interesting and like add more challenge in the game. How do we do that? It's hard to balance those.
Okay, that's fair. Another kind of big topic question. Are there any plans to completely separate PvE and PvP balancing? I know you guys are capable of adjusting the damage of weapons in PvE. Do you feel like there's a need for that separation? Is there a reason why you haven't? I imagine if there is not going to be a separation, it's probably related to the same reasons you guys have been giving in the past. Your thoughts?
So a thing that we've always thought was super important for Destiny is that you have a single Guardian with a single kit and set of abilities that you can take everywhere. We give you a bunch of different experience, whether it's like raid experiences or strike experiences or PvP or just more casual like free roam, and that you're the same Guardian playing in the same way. And a thing that I think we do pretty well is our shooting and our like gunplay feels good. And part of the reason why it feels good is that muscle memory of like just the same expectation of seamlessly going from your brain into the controller, like into the bullet. And that requires a level of consistency across the board. That doesn't mean that shooting a Thrall in the head is going to take the exact same number of bullets as shooting a Guardian in the head. There is some variance that we bake in and some balancing that we do, but we don't want to split them, because we think if we do that over time, it's going to cause us to lose that muscle memory and that feeling of a single Guardian.
Yeah. We want you to go into any activity and like, I'm playing Crucible and then I get a gun and kind of wonder like, well, what does this do when I take into strikes? And they're not going to be optimized
Is that
for
writing
every
as
activity.
questions? These are
Even
community
today,
questions
we do
that people have
balance
had for a
separate parts
long
of the game
time.
differently. We want you to build a loadout that's customized to the challenges you're trying to tackle, but we also don't want to go so far that you feel like, oh, I'm just never going to participate in that part of the game. It's not worth it.
Okay. I'll take it easy on you guys on the next question.
Keep going hard.
Keep going.
Well, let's get a little business out of the way.
Right.
Is Forsaken and the annual pass getting a price drop? Do I need them to play Shadowkeep?
Yeah, so what we're doing starting today is that everything that we've released in Destiny 2 up until now, so base Destiny 2 game, the expansions, Forsaken, and the annual pass, that's all being bundled together and dropped to just $40.
Okay.
So, and that's starting today. But we don't want to require any of that content to play new stuff. Like Luke and Mark said earlier, we want all of our expansions moving forward to be simple and a la carte. So if you like the stuff that we're showing off in Shadowkeep, you can just go and click purchase. You don't have to do the complicated thing like, wait, which pieces of the content do I own and which of these 11 SKUs should I buy?
Right.
And it's the same thing for recommending to your friend. Regardless of how much Destiny they've played, what they own, it's all the same entry point, which is just picking up Shadowkeep for $35.
Shadowkeep's $35. So we're keeping sort of that seasonal pace of content. Is that a la carte going to also apply to seasons?
Yeah, so we want the seasons to be a la carte because there were a lot of things that I liked personally about the annual pass, but asking people to pre-purchase $35 up front of a year of content when we didn't even announce what the name of some of the seasons were, I think is not as cool as it could be. Like it's better if you can wait and once you watch the trailer, once you hop in and see some of the content yourself, then decide if you want to buy in. And so each of the seasons will be available. But we also want to make sure if you jump into Shadowkeep, we're not immediately putting our hand back out asking for more money. So Shadowkeep is going to give you season 8 or whatever season it is starting the current season. For free as part of that.
So if I buy Shadowkeep in like January and it's season 10 or whatever, I would get season 10 as well.
Yeah, you'll just get that season.
Right.
So you don't have to do the complicated question of like which part of this premium content like do I need to buy? You just jump into Shadowkeep and you're gonna have everything.
Or you could just decide to get season 10.
Yep.
Okay. I guess that kind of covers that question. Let's go to another kind of hardball.
All right.
The community kind of laments the loss of things like new strikes, new PvP maps, and otherwise new additions to what they would consider staples of the Destiny experience. How valuable do you think those things are compared to making new activities? And are we ever going to see stuff like strikes, new PvP maps, and that kind of stuff return outside of major expansions like this?
They're super valuable. I mean, you see it with New Light, like they're going to be the entry point that we want to get all players into and playing together. So they're really important for us, and the team has big lists of things that they want to do. We've tried some of it in the past, like for Season 6, we did a lot of Gambit quality of life updates, and there was new maps for it. It's just, again, the challenge with a game this wide is we can't do that all the time. And so we're definitely focusing like Season 8. We're coming back to the Crucible. Like, we know we've spent too long, like we haven't done enough for it. We had a lot of commitments with Annual Pass 1, but now we're coming back. And I think we might not answer all the ritual game in any single season, but over the course of a year, we're probably going to touch a lot of different parts of the game.
Right. I hear you guys, I can hear you through Twitch chat screaming, ask about PvP. The question, it's here. It's for a different person, but it's here. Don't worry, I got you guys.
Yeah, and another thing I want to say there is like we tried to change up the formula with Annual Pass and with the seasonal model over the last year, where if you remember before when we did DLCs, we would put a little bit of every single type of content in each one of the drops, but then that meant the whole team was working for months or years on just that, and there would be a long drought of content. And what we're trying to do now is every couple weeks, every single month, we're releasing something and keeping the world continuously evolving, but that means that we can't release everything at the same time. And so we've tried to revolve around and touch different parts of the content, but yeah, and for example, like I think we underserved PvP in the last year. That was a mistake with how we planned out the Annual Pass, and we're going to correct that starting in Season 8, and then we want to walk around and touch all the other pieces of content.
Yeah. So would you say that there is a chance that we'll see like a new strike throughout the year with the seasons? Like, I don't think
certainly possible. Like we haven't planned out exactly what's in each one of our seasons, but no type of content is off the table. I mean, like I kind of want to throw it back to you. Like, what do you think the seasons are missing right now?
Yeah, I mean, again, it just kind of comes back to a lot of those staples of the Destiny experience. The game has grown very wide and just not very tall, which is something you guys are addressing in Shadowkeep. So I think the community would definitely like to see, you know, some strikes come back, a couple PvP maps, even like remastering some Destiny 1 maps, right? Bring back, you know, Rusted Lands and whatever else people want, Twilight Gap and all that. So I think people would absolutely love to see that. I guess final question for you guys. Do you worry about being able to produce the volume of content you produced this year without the help of Activision and the other studios? Because the community is insatiable. You'll never be able to make enough stuff to keep people entertained. And
yeah, I mean,
how do you guys feel about that?
Working with Activision, they were great partners. Vicarious Visions, High Moon Studios, they've made a ton of the cool content and Forsaken in the Annual Pass that I'm really impressed by. A thing that we did though was we knew that this was going to end at the end of the Annual Pass. So what we've been working on for the last year is reconfiguring the team to make sure that we're in a place where the set of content expectations that we've set for players, we can continue delivering on every single season. So I feel confident that we can keep delivering a season's worth of content that Destiny players have come to expect every single season moving forward when it's just us.
Yep. And then the hard thing, just like the original question about PvP balancing, is whenever we make new activity content, we're not being able to do the thing you just asked about, like, well, how about servicing the existing stuff? And for a game that big, so
always
it's
a
real
trade-off.
hard to like. And this is the challenge. We haven't figured out the right balance for it. We're going to keep working on it, but it's going to be a question of like, what's the cool new adventures? What's the cool new ways that are going to challenge your monster killing machine every season? But how are we updating the rest of the game to also feed in and challenge give you new challenges for your character? But we have to do that in a way that also is healthy and sustainable for our team. Like, it's real hard servicing a game this big at this cadence. And so, but Destiny's going to be around for a long time. We want this team to be excited, to be able to build all that content, come in with fresh ideas, and really be able to tackle some of these big challenges and make the best experiences. So that's a hard balance.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, we have mailing lists inside the studio where people talk about, because with this many people, not everybody knows everything that's going on. And so people are asking, like, hey, is there going to be a strike in the new release? Are you going to go do this quality of life update? Like, we all want to touch all the parts of Destiny as fast as we can, but we also don't want to ask the team to work every single weekend. Like, we want sensible, healthy, excited, folks in the office, and we're always trying to hold that line because there's always more stuff to do than we have time for, right?
Right. Do you guys have anything else that you want to add before we transition here?
No.
All good? All right. Well,
thank
you guys very much for joining me.
Thanks.
Had to grill you guys a little bit more.
Oh, it's good.
And we're going to rotate here to 2 new guests, Koa and Raylene. Welcome to the table.
Hello. Excited to be here.
Claps all around. You guys are here to talk about New Light, something that I think a lot of people have wanted for the game, even though they maybe will not be engaging with it themselves, just like a lot of veteran players. Obviously, we already play the game, but everyone for a while has thought, man, they should really make Destiny 2 available for free for a lot of people, because you've done it in the past, right? You've done 3 weeks on Blizzard, and then like, oh, for a month if you have PlayStation Plus, and then maybe there was something, I don't even know if there was anything with Xbox. So what exactly am I getting access to with New Light, and when do I get access to it, I guess?
Yeah, this is really exciting.
Just spill it all out for me.
Yeah. So for New Light, it's a new entry point for Destiny, right? So what that means is that it's tailored towards new players, but all players can experience it. So if you make a new character, and if you're a veteran player, you'll experience the New Light flow. And it's exciting because it's not a trial, right? It's not an expansion. It's not a different part of the game. It is the game. It's Destiny. And it's free, which is
very good.
Yeah, which
very,
is super
very good.
exciting. Yeah, exactly.
And as Raylene said, it's the whole game, right? So it's not just some subsection portion of it. It's the full breadth of content that you get as Destiny players. So you get access to strikes, you get access to all destinations, you get to free roam, you get to look for lost sectors, you get to play all that content that's been out there in the world that you've been playing a ton of, right?
Right.
For free, which is really cool for us. I think that's a really exciting change.
Yeah.
And we're happy to have people actually get to experience that content who never have before.
Absolutely. I was watching Twitch chat during the VIDOC, and when that came up, I saw a lot of, is this Destiny 1 remastered and blah, blah, blah. Can you just clarify that it is or is not a complete remaster of Destiny 1?
No,
it is not a remaster.
It is not a remaster.
It is not a remaster.
No.
It is like the first mission is, I guess, remastered.
Yeah.
Right. So you do the first mission like you were playing Destiny 1, and then you're just flown right to the tower. You land, and then I can go do stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So like, how do I? You said you would unlock things over time, essentially. How, like, let's say I'm brand new, download New Light, do the first mission, land in the tower. I want to go to Mars. What do I got to do to go to Mars?
Yeah. So one of our biggest goals is to remove barriers, kind of what you're mentioning, so that you can play together with your friends, and you can do that within the first like 20 minutes. So once you land in the tower, as you're saying, the first, I guess maybe I'll dive back a little bit. For the Cosmodrome mission, it's about 15 minutes or so, and you'll learn the basic, elements of Destiny, how to shoot your gun and that kind of thing. But once you get into the tower, you can start playing strikes, you can start playing Crucible, you can start playing Gambit, and for the destinations, we have a system that we're building that will unlock destinations over time, but it's not going to be very, very long, right? One of our goals there is so that the world doesn't feel so overwhelming, right? So we're not trying to like lock content. We're trying to make it ease players into our world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it can be very daunting just loading into the tower, bring up your map again. It's like, oh, there's 17 things here.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
what do I do?
Yeah.
So the thing you were talking about there, where how do you get to Mars, right? You start after you do the Cosmo mission, you go to tower, and you have access to EDZ. You play that for a little bit. We haven't tuned exactly how long you'll play, but it's probably not very long. And then you'll start, as you complete bounties and other activities, you'll quickly unlock other destinations. So you'll probably be in Mars in like a couple hours.
Okay. So what kind of stuff am I getting with New Light? Like, can I go play the original Destiny 2 campaign?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I play Curse of Osiris?
Yes.
Yes.
Warmind?
Yes. Easy. It's an easy question.
So, okay. So Go. Yeah.
Yeah. You can play all those campaign content if you want to. For us, we're making it optional, right? So back to the barriers kind of thing. We want, if you choose to play with your friends right away, right? And if you want to go experience the campaigns of the past, you can go ahead and play that as well, right?
Okay. Yeah. Even like Leviathan?
Leviathan Raid, yeah.
Yeah? Yep. Leviathan? Okay. What about Forsaken then? Can I go to like Dreaming City and Tangled Shore? Like what's the limits on Forsaken?
So that's a little bit different. As far as Tangled Shore and Dreaming City, you can go there. We actually want you to be able to explore all destinations. So we mentioned that you'll unlock destinations over time. You'll see that Dreaming City, Tangled Shore, and actually the Moon as well.
Oh wow! Okay.
Shadowkeep, and you'll see all the destinations. You'll be able to play all that stuff. And what will happen is we're giving you all of that access. But then if you wanted to, like say you play Shadowkeep and you really like the raid content, you really enjoyed the way that feels with your friends, or you really like story missions, if you want to go back and play the Forsaken story campaign or any of the Forsaken raids, like Last Wish or the dungeons in Forsaken as well, then the Forsaken package is available to buy, and that's a separate thing.
Okay.
But all the destinations are available to you at all times.
So basically, if I want to go play like the meaty stuff of Forsaken, like the raids, the dungeon, the campaign,
exotic
quests, exotic quests, things like that, things that are the beefy stuff. I would need to go buy Forsaken, but I don't need Forsaken to go play Shadowkeep.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys would like to add? Because I feel like we covered basically everything that I needed to cover.
It's a lot. It's a lot to talk about because as a new light player, you get so much content.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, on destinations you think about, there's also like public.
Chat, I'm just letting you know, in 5 minutes, I have to swap over and play Borderlands on the Borderlands channel. So, if you want to keep watching this, you can either open it on another tab, okay? You can open it on another tab, or you can go watch it with T-Rex. My soul is literally torn up into tiny pieces. I asked if I could have some